Hi there, this is Ajit Navlaka, your host at the Business of Coaching podcast. And today we have a really special guest and a really special conversation. Well, that special guest that we have today, well, it's me. And that is what is happening today. Today it's a solo podcast. It's just me and you. We are riffing really hard today on how do you really know how to communicate your message really powerfully, really simply to your client. So we're going to really double down on how to really take your message, how to really take what you have inside you and translate it into a powerful message, a powerful dialogue that opens up conversations and hence leads to those conversations leading into conversions. So get all ready. Get ready with your journals. Get ready with note-taking devices that you might be watching this on as well, because this is going to get really hot really fast. Let's roll it. Hello and welcome back to the Business of Coaching podcast. And today, like I mentioned, we are talking about how to really nail down your message. And it is one of those things that is so hard to do, isn't it? Like, how often do we stumble and mumble when we have to really express what we do for the person that is across the room, or when we have to start a conversation, or we have to kind of open up a dialogue when we are in a gathering, or we are hosting a dinner or a lunch, or we are at an event and we really have to explain what do we do and how do we show up in the world. It gets increasingly complicated as we widen our horizon, right? The more you know, the harder it is for you to communicate. The more you're clear about what you want to do in the world, the harder it is to find those words that will allow you to really be able to express who you truly are, to be able to express how do you really create that impact in the world. Isn't it a tough thing to do? Isn't it one of the reasons that it becomes harder and harder for you to bring clients on and have those conversations, or to be able to really be present in the conversation and with just one statement, open a dialogue, or with one statement, take that dialogue and take it to the next level and make that conversation a coaching agreement or a coaching session that will lead to a client enrollment. So if we could only find a way to clarify our message, if we could only find a way to communicate something in an effective, powerful, efficient way, would you be curious to see how that can impact your business? Now, let me tell you a little story on the power of clarity of message before we get into how to get clear on message. You may have heard about the company Apple, right? The iPhone company, the MacBook company, and all these different devices making the smartphones popular, iPods, whatever that is that you have used in different parts of the world is Apple, right? And you may know that when Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak started the company, they were very clear about what they did. They were a computer manufacturer. They were people who were taking computers and making them personal. They were very clear about that. And the company soared in its valuation and started to really hit the market really quickly because they were clear about what they did for the world. But as Steve Jobs was pushed out, as the ambition of the company grew, they started doing so many other things. The new CEO invited Apple computers to try and do multiple things like making toasters and other devices that were in electronics, but nothing to really do with a personal computer, or a computer that was personal for family, for something that was at home. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak saw a vision for Apple computers and computers in general to be used by everybody. That vision, somewhere in the process of expansion, got lost. And with that loss is what happened to Apple computers, where they declined in their valuation. The customer base was not as excited about what Apple was producing anymore. And soon enough, the Apple board had to call Steve Jobs again. Steve Jobs was invited back into the company. Steve Jobs was invited to create that transformation and bring about that change and really be able to ask that question again on what is Apple computers? What is the impact of Apple computers in the world? He went back to the table, and what I call as Steve Delete now, he took out everything else that had nothing to do with personal computing. It meant that temporarily the revenue of the company would suffer, that people will doubt if that decision is the right decision to make, that people would be concerned if Apple computers have lost it all under the leadership of Steve Jobs. The teams questioned it. Steve Jobs maybe even questioned it himself, but still he went ahead and said, no, what are we as a company? What is Apple Computers as a company? And he asked that question and clarified real powerfully and said, no, we are in the business of personal computing. Let's go back to the roots. Let's ask ourselves the questions who we are and really dial down the dialogue of how and why people engage with our company. That completely shifted the reality of Apple Computers. It became a profitable company again. It went into the businesses of creating smaller and smaller computers. If you think about it, this is a computer that is really personal, but that's what Apple Computers does, right? Or Apple did for the greatest period of time in the glory years where they expanded so fast and became one of the most profitable companies out there in the world. The foundation of that, a clear message. Apple Computers was not trying to do anything else but create the best personal computers in the world. Well, the same message is true for anybody, even in the business of personal transformation. Look at our company, EverCoach, the channel that you're watching right now. What does EverCoach stand for? It's very clear. If you engage with EverCoach, you are going to elevate your coaching ability. You're going to learn how to be a better coach. Every single time you engage with us, we are going to make our best effort to bring you the best trainers and teachers and educators and instructors and experienced coaches and distill their insight, distill their information, and create a beautiful experience for you to continue your journey, continue the process of growth for you. And that is the clear message that you get every single time you engage with EverCoach. Every single time you look at a video like this, you know it is coming from the intention of saying, how can I help you be better as a coach? That is the intention. That is the dialogue. And because that is the dialogue, it's easy for me to communicate this to you. It's easy for you to hear it. It's easy for you to reflect back and really use EverCoach as a platform, as the one place where you go to every single time you are concerned that you want to be a better coach, a better version of yourself, a better version as an entrepreneur, a better version as an impact maker in the world, right? That clarity of message, that focus of message allows you to engage with us very easily. We're not trying to do something else. We are not trying to create any other type of impact in your life, but just one singular focus. Be a better coach. Create a better impact out in the world. Right? That clarity of message has led us to grow year after year in apparently a really busy industry, right? When we walked into this platform, and I've shared this in story before, I was literally told, Ajit, you cannot be a coaching person. You can't be somebody who impacts the coaching community. And when I asked the question why, they were like, because you are not a middle-aged white female. I know, it sounds ridiculous. It's like, what the hell is wrong with these people? But that is the true story. I was literally told, and I could never forget those words because they were so wrong and so racist at many levels, but I was literally told, Ajit, you cannot be in this industry. You should not be in this industry. You're a brown man with an accent. You have to be a white middle-aged female to have any impact in the coaching industry. Well, they were wrong, right? Clearly they were wrong. But what we came in was with clear vision. We didn't want to figure out how to do the next launch. We were not trying to figure out how to scam you to get a product. No, we were focused. We were like, no, if I create a better product, a person that changes their life with my brand, with my company, will respect it. And with over time, will continue to engage with us because every single interaction with us is meaningful, is powerful, is impactful, right? And that's what we're going to try and do today. We are going to try and help you create that clarity of message because every single time you're clear, you're solid, your clients will engage back to you irrespective of the color of your skin or your gender orientation or whatever the heck it is that somebody tells you is the reason why it will not work for you. It could be because people say you're old or you're retired is why people won't engage with you. Well, they're wrong. If they tell you you're white or black or brown is why people won't engage with you, well, they are wrong. If they go, well, you have a particular sexual orientation, well, they are wrong because people don't care for your orientation. They don't care for the color of your skin. They don't care for any of those other things. What they care for is, can you care for them and create an impact in their lives? And I know this. If you're here on this platform right now, if you're watching this right now, you're somebody who's ready to make that impact. You're somebody who gives a damn about creating that positive change in the world. And I am so excited to show you today how you can take all of that juice that you have, all that awesomeness that you have, and translate it into a beautiful, simple message that will open up conversations for you, that will open dialogues for you, that will open doors for you, right? So till the time you stay focused on really creating a positive change in the world, really creating an impact in the world, let me tell you that you are going to find your message today, and you are going to find how you are creating a greater impact today. Right? Now let's get down to really identifying that message. Let's get down to really identifying what is it that will make you stand out. Let's say if you were sitting on a table like this and you were having a conversation with a bunch of people that may be your target audience, but they don't really understand what do you do in the world, right? So let's dial back and ask ourselves questions which will allow us to be able to really open up with a dialogue that will hit the nail in the head, as we say it, and be able to have that dialogue, that conversation, right? At the end of it, what we will end up with is a singular statement, right? But let's break that statement into one piece at a time for us to really double down on how to really create an impactful conversation and open up a dialogue that is useful for everybody that's listening. So the first thing that you want to identify is who is that personality, type of person that would have the greatest impact of your work. So the first part of the statement is, I serve blank. I serve blank, or I help blank, however you want to place it, right? And the reason why we want to identify this is sometimes what happens is when I ask people to identify that, is people go, Ajit, you're limiting my potential. You're telling me that there's only a certain set of people that I could help. Well, it's not that I'm trying to limit your potential. It's not that I am trying to have you not identify with a larger audience. That's not my intent when I say write down a particular type of person that you would actually be able to help. Here's the reason why I ask you to start there, right? Let's say you are a candle that is lit, right? You have light in you, right? So you are the light, you are the candle, you're a beautiful light, and it will shine across the entire world. But let's say I take you to a really dark room, and it's a really big room. It's like 3 rooms put into 1 room. Now you're one candle, right? You have a light. How much area would you brighten with this really, really big, black, dark room? Well, it will be a small little area, right? It won't give the light to the entire room. I may be able to see a flicker of you at the edge, at the corner, wherever you are placed, but I won't really be able to utilize that light because it's so far away and it's so little for this big a room, right? And that's how our journey starts. You enter a big room and you're a small light because you're just getting started. Your light is still coming out of you. It's bubbling out of you. It's finding its place, right? If I took the same candle and I took it to a small box, how much of that little box will be lit? Completely. It will shine bright. It will be seen everywhere in the box, right? It's a small box. I can see the whole light. You can light up the whole room. And that's really the idea, is you build up your light more and more and more, and the room will grow further and further. The box will become a room, the room will become 2 rooms, and it will become a stadium one day. But when you start with the box so you can fully shine and everybody can see you and be soaking themselves into your light. But you got to start there so people can actually soak in your light. Because if you start shining in a really large room, I won't be able to soak in your light. I won't be able to feel the warmth because I'm on the other side of the room. Now that metaphor is the reason why I encourage you to first identify a small segment of people that you can really serve really powerfully. What is it that you can do for this set of people really, really well? And keep it small for the reason of the metaphor of the box, right? So you can really engage with them. You can really empower them. You can really talk to them and talk with them. Instead of trying to impress everybody, you're just trying to communicate with a few. You're finding your first 100 raving fans, your first 1,000 raving fans, and focus on them so you can also shine brighter, right? We are human beings. As we go through experiences, as we go through life, what happens? We expand slowly but surely, right? And as you expand, as your light gets brighter and brighter and you start to shine more and more and more, it gets more beautiful, and then eventually you're in the stadium and lighting the whole thing up because you're not a candle anymore. You are a flame, right? But you got to start from the box, right? So start from the box. Say, hey, who do I serve? the small audience. When we had to ask that questions to ourselves as EverCoach, we asked ourselves, do we serve everybody that wants to make an impact in the world? Or do we serve a small community of coaches that impact the world in a positive way? We asked ourselves that question and we said, listen, we know we want to impact everybody that can make an impact in the world, but let's start somewhere. And that question got us to impact coaches. Now, today, you already know we are one of the largest platforms that is out there serving a large community of coaches every single day. Our light is bright. It's shining. It's beautiful. It's seen from everywhere. If you are a coach or know a coach, you are very likely to have engaged with EverCoach as a brand. And it's been just a few years, right? But that tremendous focus of saying, hey, let's brighten this section first has given us the space to really be bright. And now we are ready to expand. We will be able to go out to other communities and take the same message in different capacities or the same capacity, right? It allows us to really be powerful with our community because we are so focused on the community, right? So my first part of the invitation is to be able to write down, I serve blank. What is that one community that you're going to serve, right? I serve single moms. I serve professionals. I serve CEOs. I serve people who are suffering from a particular type of health issue. Whatever that is, identify that. Start there. Because once you start there, you can go to the next part, which is I help blank with blank. With blank is the challenges that this community needs resolve, right? We help coaches with their methodology. That's what we do here at EverCoach. We help you with your methodology. You being able to serve other clients, your clients really powerfully. That's our singular focus here at EverCoach. We try to give you better and better ways for you to be able to really impact your clients, right? We help coaches with their methodology, with their impact. However you want to say it, the words are a choice that you can make till the time you understand the meaning that they have. What you really need to hear here is that you are clear and also the result that the client can expect from you, right? This community that you identified, can they clearly understand what is the impact that they will have if they work with you? What is the challenge that they will find a resolve to? If they're clear on that, you are very well ahead in really knowing who do you serve and how do you serve them, right? Not how do you, but what is the challenge or the result that you expect serve them with, right? This part of the statement should already bring tremendous amount of clarity for you right now, because now you know who do you serve and what are the ways that they can expect a result from you. And as they get result from you in that light, you have now got the power to take one step further, which is how is it that you actually create that result for them, right? A lot of times we just focus on the result that we create and who do we create it with, and then we forget about the actual way or method that you created with. And the reason why that is important is when you're communicating to an audience and when you're communicating to a group, when you're communicating to an individual and you just talk about the result and you just talk about who you are working with, what often happens is the person then becomes a little bit skeptical because they don't know if they should believe you, right? So here's the last part of the statement. Now come down to how this all comes together in just a second so you can see how real-time execution of something like this actually happens. So firstly, you say, I help blank with blank, which is the challenges, using blank, right? So I help coaches, or we help coaches in EverCoach's scenario. We help coaches with their methodology using online education systems, like online trainings, online programs, right? So I actually am very clear on what you will get from EverCoach as a platform, right? You're very clear now. You know exactly what we do. You know how you're going to get the result. You know what result to expect. Right. But do you actually have that clarity when you sit down with your potential audience and actually communicate how you get those results? Now, let me give you a coaching example. So that way you will understand more in context of not an online platform, but an actual coaching conversation, right? And how it actually translates in real life. So while EverCoach is a great training platform and we have a lot of trainings which are amazing and will help you build your coaching practice and will actually help you have greater impact with your clients, we found that a lot of you may need additional help, which means you might need an additional support of a mastermind, a group coaching program, or a coaching program, or a consulting program. So we said, is that really in the scope of EverCoach as a company? Well, it is not, because like I very clearly said, EverCoach is an online platform for online training. So you get online trainings that will help you get great results. Like, for example, a current training that is in promotion as you watch this is called Start Your Coaching Business, which allows you to start your coaching business. It's a very straightforward idea that you see and you can get results with it immediately, right? You join the program, and in 21 days, we'll set you up in a unique way that you can start your coaching business. Great, fantastic. If you're somebody who's struggling with that, if you're somebody who needs to restart their coaching business, that's a great place to get you started. So we'll link it up below here. So go ahead, check it out and see if it's right for you. But that's what Start Your Coaching Business does. But say in 21 days, you started your coaching business and now you're like, hey, I want to really grow this thing. I want to really get into these other areas of building my business. What can I do about it? You may actually ask that question and want some additional support. This is where we come in with another company that we have called Global Grit Institute. This is more a coaching consulting company where we support you as consultants and coaches that go along with you, helping you build your business, right? And it's a very clear message for that company, right? We say, we help wellness professionals. We are not focused only on coaches. We work with app developers. We work with other companies that are actually in the wellness space. So we help wellness companies with growing their businesses using consulting. You see how clear that message is, right? It allows me to be able to be focused on who do we really serve, how do we serve them, or what's the result that they can expect, that they will grow their businesses 100% with using consulting and using consulting experiences that we have had in the past, because we have consulted many companies and helped them grow by 50 to 100% year on year, right? So that allows us very simply be able to explain it to anybody that is sitting across us as to what do we do in Global Grit Institute, which is a coaching consulting company. So let's reflect that back to you. What is it that you do as a result for your clients? Who are your clients, and what is the methodology that you use? Now, you may be using a mix of methodologies. For example, you might say, well, I use neuro-linguistic programming and I use a couple of other techniques, maybe some healing modalities, and I bring it all together, and that's how we create results. Well, then word it in a way that is easy for the person to kind of get an idea, so they have certain curiosity for them to engage in a conversation with you. You see, all of this that we are doing is to encourage some level of curiosity for the person to say, hold on, whatever you said right there, I'm curious. I want to know more. Because when they ask that question, it allows us as a coach to really dive into a real conversation. I get reminded of this particular concept that I learned from somebody else. His name is Chris Smith, where when he positions himself, when he communicates, I'm paraphrasing him. If Chris, you're watching, sorry if I'm butchering your actual statement, but it was something to the tune of this. I help companies who it was something like this, and clearly I'm butchering it because I'm trying to recall the exact statement, but it was something to the tune of, we help growing companies who are unclear about their brand messaging really find their vision or really find their values, something like that, right? But even with the paraphrase, you can very clearly see that the company, which is called the Campfire Effect, is trying to help growing companies or well-structured companies who have lost their vision or lost their values to really re-identify those values and that vision. Guess who will engage with that conversation? The companies that are growing and the founders feel like they've lost vision, right? Guess the companies that will not engage with them. All the growing companies that don't feel that they have lost alignment to their vision or lost alignment to their values, right? And that is beautiful, because the moment a company that is sitting on the table, maybe there are 10 companies sitting on the table, maybe there are 2 companies that would be like, you know what? We are growing and I really feel like we are not value aligned anymore. That's the conversation that this company, Campfire Effect or Chris, needs to have with people, right? It's so clear. There is no doubt in this conversation at all, right? It's very clear who is talking to and very clear who should engage back. But it's an elimination process in a way, right? It's an elimination process because you're not trying to speak to everybody. You're trying to speak to people that you really are going to create results with. So my question to you is, how is it that you will frame your statement based on the three elements that we talked about to be able to really engage with an audience, right? To be able to really engage with the right audience sitting on the table. Here is what happens once you identify these three elements. Think about if you are somebody who's going, hey, you know what? My way of reaching the world is to create Instagram stories or Facebook posts or LinkedIn posts or videos or whatever that is, right? Now that you have clarity of the statement, what do? You know exactly who you're talking to, so you will know exactly what to say to help people self-identify that this content is for you. For example, in EverCoach, we say this is the number one platform for coaches to learn how to be better at their skill, right? So you know who we are speaking to. We are speaking to the coaches, right? So everybody who's a coach is listening, right? I've identified that. Can you identify that? So that also allows me every single time to only create content that's relevant to you. If it's not relevant to you, it doesn't go on this platform. It's simple, it's easy, it's straightforward, right? It makes me so focused in creating the content because every single time I engage with you in a real life world or over online or anything, all I'm asking is, what is the challenge that the coach has next? What is the challenge that a life coach has next, a health coach has next, a business coach has next, an executive coach has next? Because every single time I identify those challenges, I take that challenge and I can create whatever content piece I want to based on that, right? But it's so easy for me to create content also because I know what's the result I always drive people to. If this conversation doesn't help you grow your coaching business, help you become better as a coach, be able to be more clear in your message, I shouldn't create this content. It's simple. Right? It's simple for you right now. You're like, oh yeah, if this is not relevant to my methodology in a way, indirectly, because that's how you communicate somebody as to what do you do, I shouldn't be on this platform. This is not for EverCoach as a platform. But that's exactly why it's so easy for me to create this piece right now, right? Because I'm like, all right, this helps you grow your coaching business. This helps you with your methodology. It's perfect for this platform. Using online trainings. Guess where you're consuming this training on right now? It's an online platform. Irrespective of the platform that you're consuming this on, this is an online channel. You're not actually coming to a physical event. This is an online channel. So I'm very clear how I actually communicate to you, right? And it's like an online training, a free online training, but it's kind of an online training, right? So that is what is powerful. That's what lands. Now I know exactly how to communicate with you. You know exactly what to expect from me. Right? And that is what is amazingly powerful as you reach out in the world because you're able to be so clear in what you're doing for the world and be able to always stay focused towards that conversation. All your content pieces line up for it. All your trainings line up for it. All your coaching packages line up for that. What I want you to get out of this conversation is these three simple answers. First, who is it that you serve? Who is the person? Who's the type of person that you are going to shine so bright on? That community that they cannot ignore you because you're so bright in that world that you are shining so hard that everybody's like, yeah, that person. That's the person that is shining all this light. Let's go. Let's go. Let's listen to what they have to say. And then what is the result they can expect every single conversation they have for you, right? What is that movement that they can expect? What is that progress they can expect? Right? Write that down. Write down what's the result that I will experience every single time I engage with you, right? And then write down what is that methodology? How do you create that result for them? Is it a platform play? Is it methodology? Is it a mix of different methodology? Is it a new methodology that you came up with? And then stay focused in communicating that methodology day in and day out, like using that platform day in and day out. And keep creating on that message till the time you've refined it so much that there is no way that the community that you serve can ignore you, right? That clarity of message, that clarity of focus, that clarity of you reaching out with 100% certainty and saying, this is what I do, creates a powerful direction, powerful pace that will move your business to the greatest extent in the shortest period of time. Right? So go ahead and do this exercise as a follow-up of our conversation today. Here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and make a declaration in the comment section below. Firstly, write down who is it that you serve. Then I want you to write down what is the result they can expect when you serve them. And then lastly, but very importantly, write down how is it that you create those results. I would love to see what you're doing in the world. I would love to really engage back with you and help you refine this message. So if you would leave a comment for me below, I will personally help you refine that further and further. So go ahead, leave a note below so we can work together in getting you so clear in your message, getting you so focused in your impact that they cannot ignore you. This is Ajit Navlaka, Forever Coach. I am so pumped and excited that we got to engage here today. Now go ahead and do this exercise so we can further your impact in the world. If you loved what we did here today, go ahead and hit a like button. Share it with somebody that you think can really utilize this training and can utilize the focus that we created today in their message. If you'd love to get videos like this, we produce videos like these twice every week, on Thursdays and on Sundays. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you can continue to grow your coaching business. Thank you so much for watching. Serve love every day.